Blessings, blessings, blessings. I pray that all is well today. I pray that everybody is doing well. How are you doing today? I want to welcome everyone to Delivery Nuggets. My name is Apostle AleciaBiggers, and here we're going to talk about a nugget. And so every Tuesday, we meet me here at 6:15, and I'm going to share with you nuggets of deliverance. And so the nugget that I want to talk about today is I want to talk about moving forward, because we've been talking about for the month of January how that we are a overcomer. And if you're going to be an overcomer, you got to be willing to choose to move forward. You got to be willing to let go some baggage. You got to be willing to let go some things that have hurt you. You got to be willing to let go some disappointments. You got to be willing to let go a lot of things. And it may seem as if that what you're letting go, it may seem like to you that, you're letting it go and not understanding what you're doing is choosing to move forward. Because you got to understand that when we're moving forward, what we're doing, blessing to you, woman of God, what we're doing is allowing God to heal us and allowing God to deliver us, because as we're moving forward, this is where we're going to be intentional. We're going to be in a place of prayer, and it's where you're constantly telling God about what it is that has hurt you, and you giving God permission that, God, I need you to heal me with this. Yes, I'm going to let this go, but I need you to heal what they did to me. I need you to heal what I experienced. And this is where you got to be very open with your God, open with your creator, letting him know those little things that have hurt you. When you think about the wrong and how people mistreated you, and you say, I was there for them. You know what? When they called me, I encouraged them. I prayed for them. And how sometimes people will mistreat you, because we got to understand that people are wounded. People are sick spiritually. And so when they are sick, you got to understand they're not in a good place, and so they only can give you what's on the inside of them. And so when we're moving forward, we understand that we're going to talk to God. We're going to make a choice that we're going to constantly stay in prayer. I got a text that I want to share with you in Philippians, the 3rd chapter. Let's look at verse 13, and I'm going to be reading to you from the Amplified version. And it says, brother and sisters, I do not consider that I have made it on my own yet. But one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind. And this is what we're going to do when we're moving forward. We're going to forget what lies behind, because we understand if we focus on what lies behind, it's going to get you angry. It's going to get you upset. It's going to get you mad. And it's going to get you out of the will of God if you start focusing on the things of the past. And when God is trying to prepare you to move forward. And so even though this is going to be a very uncomfortable position, this is going to be a position that you don't like. This is where you're going to have to push yourself, because your flesh will say, I don't feel like letting this go. It just ain't in me. This is where you can't be moved by your feelings. This is where you got to be willing to keep pushing yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to talk to them. Can I tell you, don't even allow people to bring up this conversation. Don't even allow people to try to bring up those things that tried to weigh you down, the things that hurt you in the past. This is where Paul said you got to forget those things which lies behind, and you got to reach towards what God has lied, that God has lied of you. And so you got to know that God got better promises. God got blessings for you. He said this is the season where the last shall be first. You got to understand that you're the head and not the tail. This is where you got to be willing to walk by faith and not by sight. And can I tell you, you can't think that you're going to be comfortable on the outside, because your flesh is not going to be comfortable. Be honest, your flesh is not going to feel it. And this is where you're going to have to talk your way. You're going to have to make your flesh, the Bible says, beat your flesh and put it up under subjection. This is where you're going to have to make yourself say, you know what, I can do this. I'm moving forward. I'm loving me. I'm going back to school. I'm starting my business. I'm starting my ministry. I'm moving into my house. This is where you got to be willing to move forward. And you got to say, God, I trust you to deal with the naysayers. God, I trust you to deal with those who have hurt me and disappointed me. This is where we got to understand This is a spirit that God told me to share. It's a time wasting spirit. People will waste your time because they want to constantly take you back to where people hurt you at. They want to constantly remind you the situation. They want to keep you arguing, keep you fussing, keeping you in a place of chaos. And you got to understand that the enemy is using that individual as a time wasting spirit. Can I tell you, the enemy will waste your time with people if you let it. And this is why you got to have your mind made up. I'm gonna let people think what they want to think. I'm gonna let people say what they want to think, whatever they want to say. But I got to move forward. And this is where sometimes you have to leave people behind. Do we want to leave people behind? No, we don't. But when you're moving forward, everybody don't want to change. Everybody don't want to let go of the past. Some people want to keep focusing on the damage. Some people want to still focus on what the people did, what they said. And you got to understand this is not good for me. And if they don't understand it's not good for you and they want to stay there, we got to be okay letting people stay where they at. Can I tell you, this can be some family members. This can be some loved ones, and you got to be okay with them staying where they at, because the enemy will try to waste your time. Because if you're trying to convince people, sometimes we're trying to convince people that they have a mind that they don't want to hear the truth. They got their mind fixed on a lie, and if they got their mind fixed on the lie, they don't want to move forward. They want to stay right there. You got some people talking about conversations and situations that have happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and they talk about it as if it was yesterday, and they don't want to let it go. And this is where God said you got to be willing to move forward, and this is where you got to make the right decision that's going to be made for you, because that's what we're talking about on Deliver Me From Me. It's where you're making the right decision for you, and it's where you're willing to invest in yourself, and that you understand everybody's not going where I'm going. Everybody don't understand what it is that God has called me to do. But guess what? I gotta believe in what God has told me. I heard what he said, and I gotta push myself. Can I tell you, even when roadblocks try to come, you gotta still move forward. When distractions come, you gotta still move forward. When things try to get you to be stuck, you gotta choose to move forward. Even when situations blessing to you, situations and circumstances happen, and you crying and you frustrated, you got to choose to move forward. And so even though people trying to call you, can you explain to me why you said this? Can you explain to me why this happened? No, I can't, and no, I won't. And you got to understand, because where you going, you don't have the time and energy to give to a time wasting spirit, because some people will waste your time for years. They never plan on changing. They never plan on being delivered. And so they would keep telling you stuff that keep on wasting your time. And see, and this is where God has said we got to be intentional. If you're going to be an overcomer, you can't allow even children, family members, loved ones, friends, associates, church members, whoever it may be, take the title off. Don't let people waste your time when you are moving forward, because you'll find yourself being stuck. They telling you to wait on them, and the next thing you know, you back to where you all made a couple steps forward. Now you don't found yourself back where you have moved from, because people are not ready to move. Some people said that they're ready to move, but if you look at their actions are telling you that they're not ready to go forward. That they may talk a good game, they may seem like they know what they're talking about, but I have come in contact with people, they'll talk a good game, they tell you what you want to hear, but when you look at their actions, they don't have the movement. They're stuck, and they saying, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going here, I'm going back to school, oh, I'm going to move over here, I'm doing that. And if you look at their walk, they're doing the same exact thing. And you got to understand those are time wasting spirits, and you got to know how to recognize them, because the enemy will use you because you say, well, I want to help them, I want to take them with me, I don't want to go by myself. But I understand everybody is not willing to pay the price. This is why the Bible tells us we got to be willing to count the cost, and you got to be willing to press. Because when you look at verse 14, Philippians 3:14, Paul said, I press on toward the goal to win the heavenly prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. You got to press. Press means that you're going to go up against resistance. Press means that you're going to go up against people fighting against you. Press means you're going to have other people trying to stop you, and you got to understand that if you're going to go forward, you can't stop just because they talking. The Bible began to talk about even when Nehemiah was building the wall, how Sanballat and Tobias was trying to get him to come down. He began to tell them, I'm doing a work for the Lord and I can't come down. I won't come down. They begin to tell him what people saying, you trying to take over, people saying you trying to do this. You know what he said? You know what I'm gonna let y'all do? And I'm paraphrasing. He's, in other words, he said, I'm gonna let y'all say what y'all want to say. You believe what you want to believe, but I got a work to do. You got to know that when you got a work to do, blessings to you, you got to keep on moving. This is where we got to stop trying to take everybody with us, because everybody is not going to go with us. Everybody is not going to go to the mountaintop with you. I'm not saying that they're not going. I'm just saying they may not go with you. But this is where you got to be willing to press. You got to be willing to press. So therefore, when they are ready, they already know that you know what you're doing, because they seen you walk this route. And seeing this is where we got to have our mindset that I got to move forward. Even when opposition come against you, when the enemy come up against your head, the enemy try to attack your health, the enemy try to attack you with warfare, you got to be willing to pray and keep on pushing. Even though you said, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, but you got to keep pushing. You got to keep being willing to move forward, because you understand, put your eyes on the promise. Put your eyes on what it is that God has told you, because you got to understand everything that you're looking at in the natural, it's going to look contradictory to what God promised you. And this is why you can't look at what you see. You got to keep on pressing. You got to break through every limitation. You got to break through every restriction. You got to even break through witchcraft words and negative words and thoughts that people have been speaking against you, because you got to understand the anointing of the breakthrough, the anointing of the breaker, which is Baal Perazim. That's the God of the breakthrough. And you got to understand, he is going to help you. He's going to give you the strength to keep on pressing. And so this is why David says, sometimes you got to encourage yourself in the Lord. You got to tell yourself, I can do it. You got to tell yourself, I'm going to make it. You can't be waiting on people to encourage you. You can't be waiting on people to see the vision that God has told you. You got to be willing to believe that if God told you, you're going to run with it. You say that, Father, I agree with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and therefore I'm going to run with it. You got to keep on pushing, and you got to know that you know that everything that's within you, that you're doing a good work. You got to tell yourself, I'm doing a good work in God. God is with me. God is strengthening me. Even though it looks like you're by yourself, you got to know that you're not by yourself, because when you are pressing, even when a person is lifting weights, you got to understand it's hard to get those muscles formed. It's hard when you lifting weights, but guess what? You don't get an overnight harvest by looking at your muscles. You know, it's going to take a process, and you got to understand, when God is bringing us to a place, it's a process, and we got to be willing to work with the process, and we got to say, I'm moving forward. You got to come on, open up your mouth and say, I'm moving forward. You got to open up your mouth, and you got to start speaking. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm going places. Begin to get a picture of the house, what you want to move in. Begin to go around looking at the businesses. Go and get out brochures, the schools that you want to go to. You got to begin to have a vision. You got to put an image in your mind, because the Bible says God created us in the likeness and image. So you got to put an image in your mind. Blessings to you. This is where you got to say, I'm moving forward. And you know what? And you got to have that mindset like Esther. If I perish, let me perish. If I die, let me die. Because you got to understand, I'm going to move forward, and I'm not going to let the naysayers, when people say, you know what, it don't make no sense to me, they doing this, it don't make no sense, you too old to go back to school, you too old, tell me you finna get married, you too old, tell me you finna start your business. Let people say what they want to say. You got to move forward, and you got to say, I ain't coming down to talk to you. I ain't coming down to try to explain myself to you. I'm not going to come down to try to argue with you, because some people know that they ain't going nowhere. They already made up their mind they don't want to change. They don't made up their mind that they don't care about their life. So guess what? Misery loves company. And so what people would do is they would try to push your buttons to make you get into a place like them. And this is what you got to say, baby, you know what? You my family member. I love you, but deuces, I got to go. You can't let nobody stop you from doing what God has promised you and told you that he was going to do. Even though we get let down sometimes, even though we get disappointment, the Bible says, even though a righteous man fall down, But the Bible say, but he get back up. You got to know how to get back up and move forward. Dust the dust off your knees and move forward. I don't care what it looked like. Yeah, you messed up. Yep, you know what, you made the wrong decision. But yep, I'm going to forgive myself, but I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to sit here and die. I'm not going to sit here and have a pity party, because I understand, like Paul said, I got to press. I got to press my way forward. I got to press my way into the harvest. I got to press my way into my deliverance. I got to press my way into my salvation. I got to keep pressing until my change comes. Do you not know, just like how the grave could not hold Jesus, the situation can't hold you? And this is why we got to constantly keep our mouth open. You got to constantly keep saying, you know what, I'm making more than I ever had. I'm living in an abundance of God. God told me to be fruitful and multiply. Do you know you got to pregnate the earth with your words? You got to pregnate the earth. Do you not know your words are seed? That's why the Bible say in Genesis that God, he said, be fruitful and multiply. You got to understand, the Bible say in Deuteronomy 30, the earth and the heaven, it watches to perform what you speak. So when you open up your mouth, you got to pregnate the atmosphere, pregnate the earth. So guess what? It said, my seeds are falling on good ground. My seeds are bringing forth me a good harvest. And therefore, I ain't waiting on man, but my eyes is on God. This is where you got to keep believing, and you got to keep trusting in what God said, and say, because God is doing a good work in me. I dare you to start prophesying to yourself every day. God is doing a good work in me. You know what? God is making a way out of no way. God is making my enemies my footstool. God is causing my enemies to bless me. God is causing me to prosper in the midst of my enemies. He said in the 23rd Psalm that he's preparing a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And therefore, I ain't moved by the numbers. I ain't moved by the naysayers. Can I tell you, God got one person. He got one person who can bless you. God got one person who can change your life. Too long we look at for thousands, and we look for all the lights. Can I tell you, all God needs is one person. God needs one person to do what he told them to do. And this is where he say, will I find faith on the earth? And I want to ask you, will God find faith on the earth with you? What he told you to do, are you keeping that promise alive? Are you keeping that fire burning in prayer? Are you constantly keeping that thing lit up in prayer? Even though you say, God, I'm tired, but God, I ask you to give me strength to stand. Give me strength that I will not be moved. Give me strength to keep on pressing. Give me strength to keep on moving, even when I'm in the midst of warfare. Because Paul said, I got to press. And you got to tell yourself, I got to press. I got to press because I understand that God is with me. You got to know that God is with you. The simple fact that the devil is fighting you, the simple fact you got to know that God is with you. Because guess what? The devil don't fight those who he got. I'm going to say that again. The devil does not fight those who he already have. He don't fight those. He fight those who he want to get. So that's an indication you in the right place, but you got to move forward. So take your eyes off the warfare. Take your eyes off of what they said. Take your eyes off of what they did. And you got to keep moving forward, because even when people begin to hit below the belt, even when they say ugly stuff, even when they do stuff that will try to hurt your feelings, you got to begin to say, God, I'm going to press my way. I'm going to press my way to the high calling. I'm going to press my way because I know that this good work that you're doing, say that God is doing a good work in me. Come on, you got to prophesy. You can't wait till you go to church. You can't wait till the prophet call your name. You got to say, God is doing a good work on the inside of me, and therefore I will not be moved. Can I tell you, you got to start praising him. Start thanking him for the blessing. Put the blessing on your mind. Hold the image in your mind and say, God, I thank you for the blessing because I'm moving forward. God, I thank you for the blessings. I thank you for answering the prayers. I thank you for the promises being filled because I'm moving forward. I'm not going to sit here and just wait on it. I got to keep on moving. Can I tell you, you got to keep on playing. That's what the nugget is today. You got to keep moving forward. Get your eyes off of the spilled milk. Get your eyes off of what they said. Get your eyes off of what they did. Yeah, I know it hurt. Yeah, I do. I know it hurts. And I know it makes you feel some kind of way. And yeah, you like, you know what, it just don't make no sense. And it don't make no sense. But I have found out Some people are just meant. Some people are so wounded. The only thing they know how to do is play mind games. The only thing they know how to do is stir up mischief. They don't know how to walk in harmony as adults. They don't know how to walk in harmony and allow the Spirit of God to work through them. They only know how to be wounded. And so when you're dealing with a wounded person, you got to know how to press your way, because the enemy is always going to use that person to try to get you out of the will of God, that you become stuck. Because when you become stuck, you keep your mind off on everything that they did. You keep talking about it. You got to understand, and people get tired of hearing that. People tired of hearing you talking about the same thing. And they're like, okay, when you going to deal with it? You got to understand this person don't want to change. And so if this person don't want to change, guess what? You can't change them, but you can't change you. So you either got to do something within you if you don't want to deal with the situation, with the situation or the person. So now you got to be willing to, now the ball is in your court. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it? This is where you got to put your eyes on the prize, and you got to be willing to walk away. Can I tell you, when you're walking away, can I tell you, it'll feel like there's a death taking place? Can I tell you, it'll feel like something is being ripped from you? Can I tell you, everything that's within you that you were familiar with, it seems like something is cutting it off? But can I tell you, if you're going to move forward, God got to cut off everything that's dead. God got to cut off everything that's connected to you that is not bringing you any fruit. Can I tell you, in this next season, God is going to bring people in our life that when we come together, we're going to bring fruit. We're going to produce fruit. He's going to bring relationships that's going to bring fruit. He's going to put relationships in marriages that's going to bring fruit. He's going to bring partnerships in businesses that's going to bring fruit. And so we got to understand, God got to cut off the dead. And so even though, we was used to the dead. We was used to the hurt. Yes, we were used to the pain. But yet you got to go through the death process within, where God's saying, I got to kill this old. And so even though we don't want to be like Lot's wife trying to look back, no. This is why we got to keep moving forward and let God kill it. This is why we ain't going to look at their Facebook page. We ain't going to look at their YouTube page. We ain't going to look at nothing pertaining to that person, because, or that situation, or that church, or that job. And we're going to let God kill it. We're going to let God sever that tie, because this is where, if you're going to move forward, you got to let God break the soul tie. You got to let God cause there to be an unraveling between whatever it is that you was connected to, that was causing you pain, that was causing you hardship. You got to allow God to cause a breaking to take place. You got to be willing to say, God, it hurts, but God, I trust you. You got to be willing to say, God, I trust you, even in the midst of the hurt, even in the midst of the pain. I trust you, and I'm going to press my way. You got to press your way into prayer, and you got to say, God, help me. God, give me the strength to stand. Give me the strength. Take the thoughts out of my mind. Take the memories out of my mind. You got to get rid of familiar stuff, because God is killing everything in you. That's why even with the family, you know what, can I tell you, we can love family, but it does not mean that they got to be connected into what God is doing in our lives, especially when they don't want what you want. You got to be willing to let them go. I had to tell some family members, you are too toxic for me. And by you being too toxic for me, I love you with everything that's within me. But in my season, I want everybody we're going in the same direction. And if you don't want what God wants for me, I don't have time for your toxicity. And you got to be all right with that, because sometimes it hurts us, because we want to bring family with us. We want to bring people we love with us. But you got to understand, they got a choice. And if they don't want what you want, who are you to try to force somebody to want something and they don't want the same thing you want? This including children. Then you got to be willing to let your children go and be able to move forward and understand, I got to go forward to do what God called me to do. Even when your children is grown, the Bible say that when you raise up a child in the way that he or she should go, when they they will not depart from it. That's when you walk over the word and you begin to say, God, I'm praying for my seed, but I can't allow my seed to stop me. I can't allow my seed or family members or whoever it is, I can't allow them to detour me on what it is that God called me to do. So you love them, but you don't allow them to stop you from moving forward. Because when you make up your mind, well, I'm going to go ahead and exercise anyway. You say, well, you know what? We're going to go on a fast. Well, I don't want to fast. Well, I'm going to fast anyway. Well, you know what? I'm going to church. I don't want to go to church. I got to go anyways because I understand what God is doing in me. I can't stop doing a good work trying to get you to want the same thing that I want. Because, see, you got to understand the Bible says even a man's enemies will be those of his own household. And so when you're moving forward, you're going to leave some people behind. And you got to be fine with leaving them behind. You got to be fine and know that it's okay. It does not mean that you don't love them. It just means that they're not going where you're going right now. And so we will put prayers praying that God will eventually to draw them. But until he draws them, I got to keep moving. I'm not going to stop. Because it's already oppressed when you're trying to press up against this warfare. You're trying to press up against people fighting you and hating you and disliking you. That you already got enough to deal with. So I don't need to be trying to pull somebody who don't want to go. And so you got to understand, if you're going to be willing to move forward, you got to make up your mind and say, you know what? I'm not going to keep on doing this. It stops now. I'm not going to ask you reading your Bible. Not going to ask you, are you going to church? This is where you got to understand, we all got to want this for ourselves. And this is where I can't put weights on me trying to make my children or family members or friends or a spouse or a person I'm in a relationship want what I want. This is why the Bible says we got to be equally yoked. Because when we're equally yoked, guess what? We're going to run this thing together. We're going to encourage each other together. And so if I'm going to overcome some things, I got to understand, I got to let go even the thoughts that come in my mind to tell me that I'm not going to make it. I got to say, devil, you a liar. I am going to make it. You even with telling the thoughts come to your mind telling you that it's too hard. You are a liar. God would not allow me to come this far if I couldn't handle it. This is where you got to learn to talk back to thoughts that come to your mind. Because when Jesus was in the garden, when Jesus went on the 40-day fast, when the devil spoke to Jesus in his mind, not one time did Jesus be quiet. Jesus gave him back the word. And we got to understand that was a pattern. So if Jesus, when the devil came and brought thoughts to his mind, if you the son of God, won't you throw yourself down? If you the son of God, won't you do this? He was trying to tempt him. And every time he said something to Jesus, Jesus gave him back the word. So you got to give the devil back the word and tell him you're a liar. I don't care what it looked like. I don't care what the doctor said. You're a liar. I don't care what the situation looked like. You're a liar. I don't care what my children look like. You're a liar. I don't care what it looked like in my body. You are a liar. And you say what the word say. For God did not give me the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of a sound mind. And I'm going to press my way forward. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to do what I need to do to move forward. You need to go and put positive images in your mind. Go look at the house. Go look at the car. Go look at the school campus. Go look at the business. Go begin to look at people that are going where there are you. Look at people that they are already at where you want to be at. Put it in your mind. Keep it in your mind, because you're telling yourself, God is doing a good work in me and I'm moving forward. God is doing a good work in me and I'm moving forward. Yeah, I failed, but I'm getting back up. Yes, I was disappointed, but I'm getting back up. Yes, I was crying, but I'm getting back up. You acknowledge what you feel, but say, God, but I'm giving you permission to heal me right here. Heal me to give me strength to keep moving forward. Heal me, deliver me of this procrastinating spirit. Deliver me so I can write the book. Deliver me so I can stop being lazy. Deliver me so I can get into a place of prayer. Deliver me. Put it in your mind. Put the image in your mind. The Bible said when you pray, he said, believe and receive that it's already done. Can I tell you? I tell yourself it's already done. It's already done. When you got people trying to talk you out of things, oh, you too old to get out. The devil is a lie. It's already done. Can I tell you, God is looking for people. You want to start the year off right. I don't care. We about to go into February, and you got to have a mind that I'm overcoming every situation that I dealt with. I'm overcoming it. Prophesy, put it in the atmosphere. I don't know how he gonna do it, but he doing it. I don't know how he gonna work it out, but he working it out. And so therefore, God is doing a good work, and I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Tell yourself I'm moving forward. Even when you fall, you mess up, I'm moving forward. You gotta cry sometimes, I'm moving forward. So stop allowing people in situations to get you. God has given us nuggets of wisdom. Philippians 3, verses 13 and 14. He said, I'm forgetting those things which was behind me, and I'm moving forward. I'm pressing forward to the goal, the prize of the upward call. So you got to know that God called you. The Bible says many was called, but few was chosen. Few was willing to pay this price. Few was willing to overcome. You got to understand, just because mom and dad count you out, husband, wife, brother, sister, pastor, minister, it doesn't matter who counts you out, but you got to call yourself, I'm an overcomer. Tell yourself, I'm an overcomer. I'm overcoming every situation. I'm overcoming every circumstance. I don't care what it looked like. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? You got to want this thing so bad that you wake up and say, I'm an overcomer. Every situation, I'm moving forward. No matter what people try to tell, I don't want to hear that mess. I'm moving forward. No, I'm not going to look back. I don't want to hear what they're talking about. I don't even want to hear what they said about me. I don't want to hear what they think about me. Who cares? I am moving forward, and I'm not coming down. Because see, it's where you up here and folks trying to get you to come down with them. Tell the devil, I ain't coming down. I ain't coming down on your level. I ain't coming down with you because misery loves company. I ain't coming down with you because you hate yourself. You hate your life. I ain't coming down because you don't believe that you can have it. But I believe that I can have whatsoever I say. I believe that what God promised me, he's giving me what he promised me. So therefore, I ain't coming down to try to make you feel good about yourself. Hey, well, you think you all this and that. You know what? If I don't think I'm this and that, who gonna think it for me? I'm not gonna come down trying to appease your insecurity. I'm not going to come down trying to make you feel good about yourself. I'm not going to come down because people will try to do it to you. They will try to make you to come down because they dealing with rejection. They dealing with poor self-worth, poor self-esteem. They dealing with trauma and abuse, and they want you to be at a place like them. I'm an overcomer. Can I tell you? I'm telling you, this is the year of the overcomer, and you got to have, like the little story. When I was a kid, the little engine that thought he could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You got to have that type of mindset. I think I can. And even though I mess up, I'm going to prophesy over myself. I ain't got time to wait on the prophet to prophesy to me. When I got the spirit of Jesus in me, I got the spirit of the prophet. And so if I got the spirit of the prophet inside of me, I don't have to wait on the prophet. So when the prophet see me, the prophet is going to bear witness of what I've been saying in the earth. That's what the Bible says. The earth is moaning and groaning for the sons of God to manifest. Are you putting seed in the atmosphere? Are you charging your angels? You got to get them angels something to do. You got to keep speaking the word. Keep your angels working. The Bible says the angels of the Lord are ascending and descending. You got to keep them working. How do you keep them working? By you speaking. And as I get ready to close, you got to speak even when you don't feel like it. When you don't feel like it, that's the time you got to push even more. When you're so tired and you don't feel like being bothered, that's the time you got to do it even more. When somebody have made you mad, that's the time you got to speak even more. Excuse me, because this is where the enemy is trying to stop you from moving forward. Because you got to move forward in your mind first before it take place in the natural. Did you hear what I say? You got to move forward in your mind. You got to move forward in your thinking. You got to move forward in what you're speaking. And as you keep saying, you're going to see things going to start changing. It's going to look like hell breaking loose, but that's because the change is taking place. And so God is going to cause everything that's dead to fall away. He's going to call everybody that's causing confusion. They're going to have to fall away. People who don't mean you no good, he's going to cause stuff to start falling away. So don't be alarmed when folks start falling away. Don't be alarmed. I ain't going to call you no more. Okay, God bless you. Oh, because I ain't running after you. I ain't running out. I understand. I'm moving forward. And God got new people to replace those people who left. He got people to replace those who dropped off. God got new people. So stop crying over the old. Because I'm telling you, in 2023, God got new people to replace the people in the old. The Bible talk about Job. Everything that Job lost, God blessed him back with double. But look at what Job had to go through. He was still pressing. His wife told him, you ought to curse God and die. The Bible said Job was pressing. He said, you sound like a foolish woman. Get away from me. His friends tried to tell him, you must did something wrong. Job said, you better get away from me. I trust God. Even though his body was afflicted, even though he had death with his children, even though all kind of warfare going on in his home, you got to say, but I trust God. I trust him when I can't see him. I trust him when I can't feel him. I trust him when it seems like he ain't talking, but I trust that he gonna come and see about me, because you got to know that God is a good father that cares about his children. And so as we move forward, let's be intentional. Make up your mind to move forward, and let those who want to drop off, let them drop off. Let those who want to go, let them go. And you got to press your way. This is Apostle AleciaBiggers, and I'm signing off of this week Deliver Me Nugget. I will be back Thursday on Deliver Me From Me. And so I pray that this message got you stirred up. I pray that it got you to the point that you say, no, you know what? I'm going to let go every dead weight. I'm going to let go everything that tried to hold me hostage, because I got to press my way to move forward. This is Apostle AleciaBiggers. I love you all, the love of the Lord, and I see you all Thursday. Bye-bye.